Humanity, I love you all with all my heart and might. I'm Jam Jose Alonso Molina. How is truth? And I have developed this equation, which is a composite function of function composition that represents how as truth. And it's using conventional formalisms and standard mathematics. So it is logical. I'm a logician. That's what I do. So I decided to have this equation that defines it. So it's essentially truth equals how as a function of y and y as a function of purposeful daily action raised to infinity. So that is to say, truth equals how as a function of y and y as a function of purposeful daily action raised to infinity. Okay? So what is the meaning of this? Well, if you look at the actual equation, which those are the values, the one that I just described, is h as a function of a equals g as a function of f and f as a function of a raised to infinity. So that's h as a function of a equals g as a function of f and f as a function of a raised to infinity. Okay, so those are the values. So once you add the values to those, assign the values, then that's the answer. So truth equals h. So that's why how is truth, because truth is the outcome that you get when you use the function of how as a function, the spherical energy value. So truth is h, right? And what's a, which is the value of the function of h? Well, is purposeful daily action. So purposeful daily action is truth, because the purposeful daily action that you're taking is what tells you the truth and confirms the truth, right? The proof. So that's it. So then that equals how, and how is g, right? G is how, okay? G is how. And then that is a function of itself. So how itself is a function, right, as g. And it's a function of y, and y is f, right? So f equals y. So if then y itself is a function, so what is y a function of? Well, of its value, which is purposeful daily action. And all that comes together and is raised to infinity, right? So is h as a function of a equals g as a function of f and f as a function of a raised to infinity. So you see all the explanation there. Why? Because truth is that purposeful daily action that proves truth to be the case, right? So, but what is that truth itself? Well, is how as the function of y being the function of purposeful daily action. So essentially, you take a purposeful daily action that is based on y, because y, which is what you're seeking, is telling you take this purposeful daily action, which is the truth, right? It's the source, what you're seeking. And that's a function of its own. But you need to check and test that function, right? That y. And you check that with how as a function. So the function of how checks the validity of the value of purposeful daily action, which is a function of y itself. So y and how come together like that as a composite function, right? That's why g as a function of f as a function of a, right? So raised to infinity. And because of that, you do that process. So how to infinity by taking purposeful daily action, by taking many actions, this is why it's raised to infinity, gives you the answer, which is the truth. So that's why the truth is that, and it's that final a, which is that purposeful daily action, that tells you what the truth is. So, and because of that, I'm a poet, so I wanted to add this message to that truth, which is how is truth, and it's the act of action is acting. Why? Because, purposeful daily action is that. Purposeful daily action is that. The act of action is acting, is truth. Because that purposeful daily action is what determines what the truth is, because you proved it by understanding what how is and taking enough purposeful daily action to get to the answer. That is the truth that you're seeking. So this is why how is truth. Humanity, I love you all with all my heart and all my might. The act of action is acting.